Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Secrets of the Sire. We do this every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, talkradio.nyc. Talking comics, movies, TV, pop culture, all the stuff that you love to talk about. And we do it right here from New York City. I'm your host, Mike Dolce. As always, joined by the Lord of the Radio himself, Hassan Godwin.
I lost my headphones. I'm sorry. Hold on one second. Just hold the show.
Just pause the show?
Hold the show.
Just pause the show?
I
can talk while you do that.
Go ahead. You're doing fine.
Really?
Yeah, you're doing fine without me.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's anytime I can get a vote of confidence from you.
Yeah, it's rare, isn't it?
It's a good thing.
It's a rarity.
We got a lot of cool things going on. We have a new intern. Anna, say hello.
Hello.
Yay, we have new interns. Yay, new interns.
New
That's what I like. That's what we like to see. We like to see new interns, new faces. Out with the old, in with the new.
It's hot in here, by the way.
Yeah, well, it's that's because it is.
That's for Sam.
Yes.
No, it's not. Okay.
We have a great show tonight. We have a lot of cool things. So, new intern. We're gonna do some new things, which we'll get into. We'll get into, very, very briefly.
Okay.
We've got Smashing Pumpkins frontman Billy Corgan.
Yeah, but he's doing other things also.
Before we get, unfortunately, we don't get this in our interview, but apparently on Howard Stern, he said he has seen a reptilian. Yeah.
He's seen a reptilian?
Yeah.
A reptilian what?
Oh, you're not into alien lore, huh?
No.
Oh, we're going to talk.
Well, you're going to have to kind of explain that if you're going to qualify that as,
Well, essentially, reptilians are reptile-like humanoids that
are
exist. Alien. Yeah, they're a form of alien.
Are they like the lizard men in
Yes.
Flash Gordon?
Yes.
Where it was a guy in a suit
Yes.
with the mouth of the suit open and his
Yes.
face was in the mouth?
Yes.
That was so bad?
Yes.
That's what the reptilian... I'm not afraid of them then. Bring them on.
They're a race of aliens that have migrated, that have mingled with humans.
Oh, so they're already here.
Yes.
They're already here.
Yes.
So they have human skin masks and stuff like that.
It's crazy.
Why are we worried about that? We don't even like each other. Who cares about reptilians?
But it's kind of out of the norm, right? Wouldn't that kind of freak you out a little bit?
Not really. No.
Yeah. No,
No.
So if Anna, our intern, just all of a sudden just turned into a reptile in front of you, you'd be like.
She's a vegetarian. I'm not afraid of her. I'm not going to get eaten, so it'll be fine.
Okay.
You got to see, it's all about diversity.
Now, very nice. Had I realized that he had seen a reptilian, I would have asked him the question. But unfortunately, I did not.
How do you come across that?
But that's why Howard Stern's in the business. Because Howard Stern's I don't give an F. I'm just going to ask you about
Billy
reptilians.
Corgan actually said he saw a reptilian.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So one of his fans just came to his dressing room
I don't know
and
the
ripped her face
of it.
off. And
I
said,
don't know
I'm
the
a
specifics of
reptilian.
it. Yeah.
I'm revealing our secret.
No. He said
that
he saw somebody turn into something else.
He saw somebody.
Yeah.
How does Billy Corgan do anything low profile if he's Billy Corgan? He's a star.
He's
a superstar, and he's
a star, but he's a weird looking dude. So I feel like
he's a weird looking dude. I'm just talking about he's going to have an entourage. He's not going to be able to go anywhere quietly.
He's in his 50s. He's got kids now. The entourage days are long over.
You get an entourage anywhere you go. You're going to have your publicist with you and a whole bunch of hangers on.
No.
Yeah, I bet.
No, he's done.
So where did he see this?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't listen to it. I listened to our show and that's it. See how I do that? I only listen back to our show.
But
I don't listen
got
to
questions
other shows.
now. You brought that up. Now I have questions.
We'll get into it when we do the interview because I think we do touch on some really cool things.
We'll see.
We do touch upon a couple of his political views. We do touch upon the early days of Smashing Pumpkins. We do touch on a possible reunion as well too. So we're pretty excited about all that.
With 3 out of the 2 out of the 3, I would imagine.
No. They are all
4 of them.
They are, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Really? Even Darcy?
Even Darcy.
I've read about Darcy.
Yeah. No. They've reconciled.
Really?
Yeah, they've reconciled.
All right.
I don't want to give too much away though. We got a lot of show to get into. Before we do though, again, we do this every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. We are on Amazon Alexa. That's right. We are on Alexa devices.
You didn't tell me that.
I'm telling you right now.
Well, you should tell me that before the show.
Yeah, I wanted to be a surprise.
I'm on the show. I shouldn't find out about things when the audience.
Yeah, but then I get a nice spontaneous reaction from you.
No, that's not cool. I don't like to be manipulated.
By the way, we're canceled.
I got my Wednesdays back.
Yeah, I know. It's like, whoa. I had no idea Wednesday could be this much fun. If you look up Spreaker Podcast Radio Player on Amazon, enable it on your Alexa device. Then Alexa, open Spreaker. Then Alexa, open Secrets of the Sire.
Oh, that sounds like a while of work.
Ain't technology. Well, it's a lot of speaking.
Yeah,
It's all voice activated.
Oh, you gotta.
Well, once you enact
that's the connection with the show, right? You
Right.
gotta mouth off to your device, and then,
right.
you get us mouthing off to you, right?
It's very accurate, very accurate. So, ain't technology grand? We're on Amazon Alexa.
I like it.
But
we're
now,
not lizards, but we're getting there.
so we're going to introduce a brand new segment. We're going to do so. Look, we're always looking to do this better, right? So we're going to call this "Here's Trending." Right? Here's what trending. Yeah. All right.
What?
Fire it up, baby. I don't know. That's what Sam just came up with.
You let Sam choose?
Oh man, you getting pumped with the music? I'm getting pumped with the music. Yeah. Roll camera. We're going to go with what the top trending stories.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's do this.
I like having music in back there. All right.
Yeah, we're getting professional.
InHumans versus The Gifted.
Ah, yes.
Two of the newest shows. Given how well all of Marvel's blockbuster films do at the box office, one might think the company's superpowered stories would fare just as well on the small screen. It's not really the case,
Well,
though.
they gotta actually. Well, never mind. Keep going.
The fantastical and well-cast drama's two-part series premiere was watched by around 3.75. This is the InHumans.
Nice.
That's not nice.
Not 3.75.
That's not.
That's not 3.75 people, right? That's
No.
3.75 million.
Yeah, but that's pretty weak for network television.
3 million people watching any
very
one
weak.
show? I don't
That-
think The
see,
Walking Dead has more than...
They have 19 million. Yeah, that's a lot more. Like if you do the
I don't
math,
know, they're talking
like
about
if you
their
actually
premiere.
do the math, it is much greater. It is
19
like
million
8 times greater.
19 million
no, that's
overall.
That's not good math. 6 times greater.
What?
Yeah, 6 times greater.
All right. Well, I have to look those numbers up.
On the flip
I
side,
don't agree with
Fox's
those
The
numbers.
Gifted is doing pretty well for itself despite an existing.
And they have like 600,000, right? He's going to say that, and then I'm going to.
They are
like, but that
4.9
doesn't make
million
any
viewers
sense.
in its season premiere. Now they did.
That's the season premiere, though.
Yeah, they did end up dropping a little bit to 4 million, but they've actually been very steady. Plus, the reviews for The Gifted have been much, much better than InHumans.
Really?
So far,
I haven't seen The Gifted. Have you?
No, I'm going to binge that. I think it's a binge-worthy show,
a binge
if
show.
I could think so. So
I tried to binge Legion, and I ended up in a mental institution.
it's very space. The trick is you have to drop acid before you watch it.
No one tells me
And then it
anything.
makes sense. Well,
no, I just sat
go look
down.
it
And
up.
I had a bag of chips, I think, and that was not enough. Apparently, psychologically,
No, it's
to
definitely
be able to deal with
it's definitely not.
with all the twists and turns. All right, so
The snozberries are not snozberries. Moving along.
no Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
So okay. So wait. So
Okay.
the wrap up of that is
Yeah.
basically The Gifted probably gonna make it.
Yeah.
InHumans. But didn't we kind of all saw that coming, right?
Exactly. It's not a surprise.
Okay. All right.
It's not a surprise.
That's too bad, but okay.
James Marsters says his Buffy character Spike was disposable, according to page 6 in an interview. James Marsters reflected on his iconic bleach blonde supervillain character Spike. To Joss Whedon, evil is not cool, and I really respect that. Spike was put up as cool and evil only because he was a disposable character. He was supposed to die. This is stuff that I've actually known for a long time. So we posted this on our Facebook page, and it's got this headline. It's the clickbait headline.
Yeah, I kind of posted it just because, he's always got a kind of self-deprecating vision of himself and his involvement and his contributions to it, and he was basically what I ended up watching towards the end.
He was the show.
It's the only reason I came
was
back
the
for
show.
season 5 of Angel.
Well, see, yeah. Oh, yeah. I agree 100%.
So,
agree 100%. He was the best part of that
yeah,
show.
so he should give himself a little more credit.
The thing that I took out of the article, though, that I
Pat
really...
Shand does not agree, by the way.
No, Pat Shand loves Spike.
No, but he doesn't
Big
agree
Spike
with my
fan.
assessment that
No,
he
well,
was probably
you
the
hate
only
Joss
thing
Whedon.
good.
You have it out for
Hate's a
Joss
strong
Whedon.
word. Hate is strong.
Anna's agreeing with you. She doesn't like Joss Whedon either.
Good. She's a keeper, but hate is strong. I never said hate.
You know, we don't get to decide these things, right? Like, she
has to come back on her own.
Show up.
Well,
right.
As long as the mind control takes.
As long as she doesn't go walking in Central Park after this, we're in good shape.
Yeah, we're gonna work on that.
That's the one thing
we're
gonna
deter her from doing that.
We're like, hey, there's Central Park. Cool. No. Not now. Late.
Not
earlier.
when it's not lit.
Much earlier.
When it's bright and you can see the green of the trees, then you could be there.
So this is the thing, though, that I took out of it. Marsters will be back on TV November 21st, starring as a supervillain, of course, in Marvel's Runaways on Hulu.
Yeah, which is kind of
always a great thing to see him working. You know
what the problem is? He's always misused in whatever cameos or whatever he's doing. He's always underused or misused. He was utilized probably the best. His talents were utilized the best in Buffy and Angel.
Sure.
Even though I have my issues with that, but I none of my issues fall on him. I liked him thoroughly.
Number one skill he has is he is not British.
He is not British.
And in fact, he has a very weird regular accent.
It's like weird seeing it because whenever you hear him, you hear him.
If you've ever heard him talk, it's like it's.
I saw
British.
him live at one of our conventions when we were at Wizard.
Yeah,
it was like what?
It's like wait a minute, no, just start talking British.
I don't know how he is now, but he was super nice. Like he was one of the
That's why
really
it's so nice
guys.
to see him back. He was on I forget. It was like a syndicated show a few years ago too.
Was it Dollhouse?
No, he wasn't on Dollhouse. It wasn't a Joss Whedon vehicle. It was a Jane. Boy, I'm completely blanking
good research.
Tonight. I know.
We do.
That's the sad part.
We work hard here.
I feel like I shouldn't even need research because
you should just know it.
She was one of the staff writers there for a long time. She ended up going. It starts with a T, but I'm sure one of our loyal listeners who are
looking
listening.
at me. That's ridiculous. I know he was on Andromeda. He was one episode in Andromeda, and he was underused there. He was great in that episode.
He's great in everything he does.
They never had him back.
It's good to see him back.
5 years on the show, and never had him back.
And finally...
And we did have Kevin Sorbo on, so that's relevant.
Finally, Star Wars Solo has a name.
Yeah.
Up to this point, we've been forced to call Disney's next standalone Star Wars film that cumbersome, as-of-yet untitled Han Solo film.
Mm-hmm.
No longer. Today, director Ron Howard, which was actually yesterday, announced that the film had finally wrapped production and that it would simply be called Solo, a Star Wars story. Hassan, what do you think of that name?
I think it's terrible. I think it's a terrible name.
What would you name it? And we throw this out to the audience.
I wouldn't have done the movie, so I'm not going to fall for that trap because I don't have a name for it. I would have called it Kessel Run. I don't know. I would have called it something relevant. I wouldn't have called it Solo, a Star Wars story. That's bad.
You wouldn't
have?
That's
very bad. That's very bad.
No.
Yeah.
No, I would have.
Even the books, even the expanded universe.
Scruffy
books,
Nerf herder.
No.
Why not that?
Because that's a terrible name.
That's a terrible name?
That's a terrible name.
I think it's fantastic.
Of course you do, because you came up with it.
Yeah.
But you think a lot of bad things are fantastic.
Supposedly he's got his real name. We're going to learn his real name.
Yes, and Han Solo is not his real name.
Which is a real shame.
Yeah, it's another piece of
because it's not as if like
it's another piece of Disney retcon crap.
It's not as if like the Star Wars universe itself is like full of like normal names, and his is like an abnormal name.
Is full of normal names. Also, it's not like the Star Wars universe is so small you can only focus on 3 people,
right?
Which is what they've been kind of doing. The situation and the setting of 3 people from since 1977, and they need to expand beyond that. So now I will go see it. I'll never deny that I would not.
So I'm going to stop you right there because that's the problem. And we're going to talk about this. And we're going to talk about this next segment, right? We're going to talk about this next segment as to why.
Well, you just
we can. No. We're going to talk about this next segment completely, go into depth as to why you can declare you're done with Star Wars, and it's not the case. Also, keep sending in your Han Solo movie title names. I want your best Han Solo movie title names, better than Solo, a Star Wars story. We'll read them on the air next.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Who do you want want to connect with.
Are you an entrepreneur or intrapreneur looking to build your following?
Welcome to our show.
Follow Me Friday with Joan
and Priya.
Tune in every Friday at noon Eastern
on talkradio.nyc.
We're your digital connectors. Woo woo! What's that?
Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
We're going to keep it superficial.
Just the brass tacks.
We are
of the
very
situation.
superficial people in general,
Well,
so we're going to stick to... Well, I'm a very superficial person.
Yeah, I'm all right.
I'm a book by the cover kind of person.
I'm a great guy. I'm not superficial at all.
Secrets of the Sire. Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. We do this every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Talking comics, movies, TV, pop culture, everything you want to know. We have a tremendous guest coming up in the next segment, Mr. Billy Corgan.
Does that mean is that a weight thing?
He is, and the interview again, while it does not get into the reptilian stuff, which I'm very upset that it does not get into now.
That's a
I
loss.
didn't know it was a valid question at that point. You know, if I was interviewing
everything
him,
he's going to talk about is going to be boring compared to actually what.
Well, he does talk about the Kardashians.
No, but I want to hear
talk about freedom of speech.
What did he see? Yeah, whatever.
He
Who
talks
cares about
about
freedom of speech and politics?
You want to know about reptilians?
Yes, I want to know. Was he on the ship? Did he?
No, he. Again,
because he's from a planet of his own, right?
Yeah.
So he's trying to. It's a double blind.
Yeah.
He's trying to warn us about the reptilians so that his invasion works out.
Well, speaking of aliens, and galaxies far, far away,
what we call a segment, ladies and
it was pretty good, actually. I think
that was okay.
Yeah,
it was maybe a 5.
It was maybe a 5 out of 10. Are you rating my segues now?
I gotta.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for some of our audience who's on our Facebook feed, facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire.
Plug.
I would love
Hair plugs.
to see some Star Wars titles. You have not come up with one. Anna, do you have a Star Wars?
I said Kessel
title?
Run.
No, Han Solo.
Kessel Run?
Kessel Run. Yeah. She doesn't look like us. Ah. All right.
Nah.
What? No.
Nah.
All right.
Nah.
Kessel Run.
Kessel
Not
Run.
good. What's the Kessel Run, Mike?
Well, he did it in whatever parsecs, right?
Uh-huh.
I don't know the exact name.
So you don't know.
Exact number.
So you don't know what you're talking about. That's
He
perfect name.
did it though. No, I know what it's referencing
perfect
to.
name.
Yes, I understand. That's the Millennium Falcon.
Perfect.
That's why it's famous for whatever.
I would name the movie Millennium Falcon.
Ooh.
A Star Wars story.
Something of a spin-off of there.
I would make that entire movie about the Falcon.
Yes.
And have him be incidental.
Yes.
Right? And then in the
Now we're talking.
in the process of talking about the Falcon, you get a little tidbits of his life.
Now we're talking. I think
But
now you're talking.
To focus on him and the Falcon, he's going to get the Falcon towards the end. It's going to be like the Enterprise. It's going to be one of those like things.
So
it's going to be
Phil
bad.
Owen from The Wrap, kind of jumping off of what we're kind of talking about here, right? Wrote an article. I'm breaking up with Star Wars. The Disney era of Lucasfilm has killed my lifelong Star Wars fandom. And
murdered. He's talking murder.
And he says, I woke up Tuesday morning to a bunch of emails about the Han Solo movie getting a title. I didn't click through any of them. I hit the snooze button, rolled over, and went back to sleep. Eventually, I found out what the title was, but couldn't muster up enough enthusiasm in any direction to even tweet about it. It was just the latest in a long sequence of events has made something very clear to me. It's about time that I broke up with Star Wars. And this is something that you've been very, a proponent of, in a sense. I don't want to say proponent. That's maybe too strong a word.
No, but I'm getting close. I'm getting close to that point.
Yeah.
Just because of, first of all, even if they were doing a great job, the sheer volume of what they're planning to do is going to have a diminishing returns.
Did you ever read the story when you were a kid, like Christmas Every Day?
No.
Have you ever seen it? I think maybe it was a TV movie. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was a book, or maybe it was a children's book.
Yeah, okay.
But that's essentially what we're living in now, right?
Yeah.
Where essentially, like,
Too much of a good
it's
thing.
about the girl who she had like one wish, and she's like, "Oh, I wish Christmas was every day."
Right.
And like, so like the first day is Christmas, and she's like, "This is great, I got presents." And then the next day she wakes up and it's Christmas, and she gets presents. This is great. Oh my god! And then day 3, and then day 4, and then eventually, like a week in, you know, she's running out of things to get. The town is running out of things to make because they're like, well, we've made all the toys now.
Right,
There's nothing left here.
Right.
And eventually she's like, well, I'm sick of Christmas every day.
Yeah.
So
It's ruined.
is that what we're kind of at now?
We're definitely at that point. We're definitely. Well, I don't know. Some of us are at that point. Fandom in and of itself, not really at that point.
But what did you just say?
I said I
before we
was going to go see it, but I don't know. I honestly
Isn't
don't know.
that the problem?
I don't even really know if I'm going to go see The Last Jedi. So
I think that
I
movie,
think I'll eventually see it, but I don't think I'm going to go with I wouldn't go in like the first few weeks.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go with any kind of enthusiasm for it.
Yeah.
That's just because I'm not excited for it.
Yeah.
So Han Solo is even less exciting to me than the idea of Rogue One was. Like, oh, okay.
But we liked Rogue One, though.
We did.
You know?
We did. We enjoyed it, but I'm talking about like to get me to go see it. Not really.
Speaking of Rogue One, Tom Hutchison, who was our guest last week, he had a few comments on this too. My Star Wars is the films and nothing else. Been that way basically forever. After the train wreck of Rogue One, I'm out of these side Star Wars stories. Zero interest now. He went on to say the first 2/3 of the film were a huge waste of time, impossible to rewatch, poorly paced and poorly written. Possibly because of all the reshoots we heard about, but regardless, just boring. And I actually thought there was a little bit of truth to that. Actually,
I don't know. I would disagree with that.
The first like 2/3 of the movie, like
No,
I
the
actually
first
tried.
2/3? No,
I
I
actually
wouldn't.
tried rewatching the movie. I loved the movie when I saw it in theaters. Right. I tried rewatching it. I just lost interest halfway through because the real money shot of that movie is the end. Right. I mean, it essentially is the assault on the base to stop the Death Star. To when Vader's actually out there cutting people up and doing things like that's like it was almost the akin to Wedding Crashers. You ever see Wedding Crashers? Of course, you've seen Wedding Crashers, right?
Yeah,
with Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson. Loved that movie when I saw it in the theaters. Thought it was like the funniest thing I'd ever seen.
Explains a lot.
Watched it the second time. All the impact of the surprise element of the jokes
Of course,
went away.
because you knew they were coming. So,
Right. Whereas other films, like say Anchorman, I didn't love when I first saw it, and then I
Right.
watched it again, and I said, "Oh, that's really
so
funny."
It
And then
slowly,
it grows
it's
on
a
yeah,
slow burn.
yeah.
You
But I'm
know?
saying so. Rogue One is Wedding Crashers.
Okay. Look, it's the difference between novel readers and comic book readers, right?
That's an insult to comic book readers everywhere.
No, it's not. Comic book readers are focused, are more to the point. They want action set pieces. They want specific kind of thing when they crack open a comic book. Whereas a novel reader is a little more
Is it
probably,
novelty?
huh?
No, is a novelty.
Oh my god!
That was bad. Yeah,
Can I just get a cab? Can I get out of here?
go walk in Central Park.
Yeah, I would survive.
This
A
is
novel-
very true. Actually.
A novel
And if you're
reader-
going to walk through Central Park tonight, walk next to him.
walk with me.
Actually,
no,
that
I'll
would
run
get
away.
him, that would get you arrested.
No, yeah, probably. What's with the girl?
He'll be like, oh,
She's following me. I don't know.
The
The strawberries. I never knew anything about the strawberries. But a novel reader is going to allow for pacing. It's going to allow for setting. It's going to allow for scenery. So some of the things that were in Rogue One that were really great was more world building. You got
So
to
you're
see
big
more
on the
things.
world building. Yeah, you're big on the world building.
Yeah. Unlike you, who are a comic book reader, as opposed to reading books.
I get to a point, though. You do get to see different worlds, and that's kind of
It's
cool.
a visual medium. Why
Yeah.
wouldn't you want to see the visuals of the
Because to me,
medium?
it still comes down to the characters, right? It still comes down to the
There were
story. It
characters in
still
there.
comes down to the.
But
well,
the-
yes, I understand there were characters. It wasn't just like a panoramic view of like all these wonderful
Right.
little places and
Right.
stuff. I mean, they actually had people.
Yeah,
and they were
but see,
doing
that's the
things.
thing. If there's characters in there, and you know there's a movie, and you know what the movie's about, 2 hours, right? You know it's going to get to something.
Yeah.
Right? So all the information they're giving you is theoretically or hopefully pertinent information, right?
Sure.
So you get this information
Well,
they're
and-
giving you with this backdrop, with this panorama
Sure.
all these amazing visuals or all these decent
That
visuals.
is where Rogue One is a little weak in the middle, though, because they give you these characters, but they don't fully go through with all of them. They introduce a lot of characters.
That's the craziness I keep hearing from people who really liked The Force Awakens but didn't like Rogue One, and that's amazing to me.
I liked both. So,
yeah, but I know. But I'm talking about
sure.
but they don't have that problem with The Force Awakens.
Sure.
Which is ridiculous because there's less information in The Force Awakens than there is about all these characters in Rogue One.
Something we didn't get into last week, but we wanted to, though, was the issue of, with Force Awakens, once Han Solo steps on the screen, once Han Solo is there, it becomes a different movie altogether. Once the older characters come in, it stops being a movie about these new characters.
It's a barn fest.
Hey,
look who came to the party.
So, just to respond to what you had kind of said,
right.
I mean, maybe that's the case. Maybe at that point, it because it shifts so dramatically in that sense. And I don't mean necessarily drama for the sake of being like a dramatic, I'm just saying it dramatically shifts. Like there's a definitive shift in that movie.
I would have preferred that movie if the original characters weren't in it.
I agree, actually.
I would have preferred it if it was like maybe 100 to 200 years after, so they could keep the fates of these other characters ambiguous, right? Mm-hmm. But they could continue the story. Yeah. And then we concentrate on the other, because those other characters, as you say, were interesting. Yeah. And they stopped developing almost the moment he showed up. Then it became some kind of weird, I mean, Finn's journey at the beginning, boy makes good kind of.
Yeah, Finn's journey at the beginning was actually really powerful. I mean, you actually get to learn who's under.
And then he's just gone after that. After
he essentially
Solo
falls to the back.
Yeah.
Rey, obviously there was the problems with how she knew how to be a Jedi so quickly. I get that, but aside from that, there was some mystery laid into it. And maybe to your point, maybe they could have resolved that in the first movie or given us an inkling of that.
All they had to do in the first movie was just give you some pieces and give you some explanations as to why you're not getting the information. Right? Or they could do what the original movie did, was just give you lies.
Sure.
So that you don't know and then you find out later, no, that's not true.
Right.
But to give you nothing is weak. It's really bad storytelling.
But it's also really difficult, right? Because in the original
stories
episode,
is hard.
Oh, no, that's easy.
Millions and millions of dollars. Yes.
I got that. It's no problem.
Yeah, it's too bad.
Episode 4, though, I mean, if you think about it, you have these core group of characters. You have people who are incidentally involved who become very involved. You have people who want to be involved and get involved, and then you have people who are already involved who then meet these people, right? I mean, that's the breakdown of what these characters are. And they have this great dynamic, and that dynamic is carried through. And in Force Awakens, you don't have that. In Rogue One, you have too many people, I think, right? You have too many things going on.
I don't know. I wouldn't agree with that.
Or maybe we're just, after the fact, we're already breaking it down to a point of, maybe we are killing these movies. Maybe we are killing. Yes,
you and I personally, or us, the fans.
Us, the fans.
Okay, so not just you and I.
No,
because that'd be kind of awesome if you and I were killing it ourselves. If we had that kind of power, we could kill. Star
we're
Wars.
Very powerful people.
We are.
Extremely powerful.
So why don't we just
whatever we say, absolutely
just happens. It just happens.
See what I did there?
Real.
Lies. That's what makes a good movie.
Are we going to break yet?
Best writer ever. When we come back... oh, Jesus. Blah, blah, blah.
You're terrible.
When we come back, Billy Corgan.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
If you have an interest in marijuana, you want to know about marijuana, law, policy, and culture, then feel free to join me, Joseph A. Bondi, every Friday at 11 o'clock in the morning on my show In the Know 420 on TalkingAlternative.com.
Legalize the earth, continue to resist the passage of this necessary legislation.
Hi, this is Rob Kay.
And I'm Callie Alpert.
And we're hosts of The Rob and Callie Show. Are you looking for a show that talks about real stuff like life, love, the pursuit of being yourself?
Then you have come to the right place, because we cover topics ranging from chivalry to gratitude to your relationship with money and everything in between.
So listen to us on The Rob and Callie Show Tuesdays, 8 to 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on talkradio.nyc.
Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
We talk comics, movies, TV, pop culture, all the stuff that you love, and we do it right here.
Stuff that makes the girls run away.
Oh, well, clearly. No. That is completely false.
Stuff that makes the girls
That
leave.
is completely
I recommended
false.
Secrets of the Sire on my show, and I got less female listeners.
Secrets of the Sire.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. We do this every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, talking comics, movies, TV, pop culture. Our next guest falls into the pop culture world, but was a personal thrill for me.
Have you ever seen him live?
Yeah, saw him this weekend.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, see?
I saw him in Lollapalooza, 90-something.
Oh, when he was like skinny, right? He was, like,
yeah, I
super
suppose
skinny.
he was skinny.
Yeah.
He also had hair.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's going
and
back
he was
then.
surrounded by these guys named Pumpkin something.
Yeah,
there
the
was a
Smashing
bunch of them.
Pumpkins.
Yeah, that's right. That's what they were called.
Yeah, so speaking of Smashing Pumpkins, we got to talk to Billy Corgan about a whole bunch of things, really cool things, including a potential reunion. Now, we did talk a little bit about his solo project, but for sake of time in our podcast, I'm going to cut that out because no one wants to know about his solo stuff.
No one wants to know.
That's not true.
But you saw him solo.
I did.
He was not with the Pumpkins.
No. He's it was piano and acoustic guitar, and that's it. That's pretty much what his solo record is, produced by Rick Rubin. If you do want to learn a little bit about the solo record, go to AM New York. Go to the Secrets of the Sire page, because snippets of the interview that we are not including tonight was actually in the article. So you're not missing anything.
Okay.
And if
you utilize all the services.
If you're a beloved patron, I'm going to just put the entire file up there for you. So you get to actually hear me gush for
special dispensation.
You know, it's funny when I listen back to it, I was like, oh man, I really do kind of kiss his butt a little bit. But I'm recollecting his catalog as we speak, so the timing of everything was
good timing for you.
Was pretty good.
It's right in the heart of your hero worship.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we promise it's coming up next as I'm trying to buy some time for our engineer, Sam. Here we go, Billy Corgan.
Take me back to the early days of success for you. I heard a great interview you did. It was actually on the Dan Lebitard show on ESPN, and you were talking about, how conflicted you were that you were successful in making money, even though at the same time, as a band and as a musician, you want your music to be heard. You want success in that sense. I love just, kind of touching on that a little bit, if you can bring me back to those days.
Well, also too in the early 90s, the idea of integrity and selling out was like a really big issue to that generation.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of street cred authenticity, which of course now is completely manufactured.
Right.
And so to even try to bring people back to those times of innocence where, who you knew and what club you played and what label you're on signified something about your moral character.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, for us as a band, we were, I know it sounds strange, but we grew up in kind of a bubble in Chicago, even though it's a major city. It was very disconnected from the music business. So because we didn't know anybody in New York and LA, and I don't mean just people in the music business, I'm talking about like the cool guy from the Village Voice or something.
Mm-hmm.
So when we showed up in the international corridors of media, LA, New York, London, Tokyo, we were literally aliens. We were like from another planet playing a style of music that they didn't understand. They didn't respect the resources or the influences, like the fact that we were quoting Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, UFO, Cheap Trick, and 7 seconds was beyond their pale.
Yeah.
And we weren't checking the right boxes on the cool, you have the right influences list. Back then everyone would say, "Oh, I love Sonic Youth." It was like the standard answer you said to a music critic to let them know you were cool.
Yeah.
And so because we offended those people, we immediately entered this weird buzzsaw of, well, who are you and what are you doing here and why are you piggybacking on our precious scene? And of course, you saw those same stresses and agendas put on Nirvana, Pearl Jam, 9 Inch Nails, Courtney Love, Hole. They all got the same thing. We just got a particular version of it. So it was hard to reconcile this weird story of like, wow, all 4 of us grew up working class.
Yeah.
We all grew up, sort of basically middle class or lower. None of us had, rich parents or anything like that. None of us went to an expensive school. And suddenly we're thrust into this bigger conversation about culture and integrity, and we're getting lectured by people who went to Ivy League schools.
Yeah.
It's very strange. It's a very strange position to be in, because even if they're right about their snobbiness, they're not right about what it really means to come from the street, which we did.
Sure.
They didn't recognize the street we came from. It wasn't on their fucking map. Excuse my French.
I also love, in that same thing, you kind of just talk about, EDM stars and even like the Kardashians, and you're very unapologetic. They're doing something unique, and I kind of adopted that mantra too, because for years I think growing up in the 90s, that's exactly what you kind of explained it very succinctly. It's the selling out quotient, and people kind of are angry at the Kardashians because they make millions of dollars and they don't do anything, but what they do is they do something, and they do it really well, and that's something you kind of touched upon before.
Yeah, I think we're long past the time of judging how people gain success in the culture. I mean, you can be very derogatory about it, or you can be very celebratory about it, but the fact of the matter is there really is no difference in American culture anymore between what used to be considered highbrow and lowbrow.
Yeah.
Punk rock songs are used in telephone commercials. You see celebrities who are really, really big celebrities routinely slumming to sort of gain some sort of credibility, with the masses, so that they think that they're down with the people, Yeah. It's such a blur that unless you're, let's call it a daily observer and commentator on the cultures that exist, parachuting in and out, making the occasional comment is sort of worthless, because you just can't keep up with that jet stream anyway. And you know what? It's not going to slow anybody down either.
Yeah. Yep. One of the other things too you're very outspoken about is social media and how dangerous it can be. For me, it's censorship. That's the thing that I'm as an artist, I'm personally always concerned about. I'm concerned about not being able, to express yourself in a logical or intelligent way without being shot down because your opinion doesn't jive. And that's something you've kind of addressed before as well too.
Well, I think even though it's a very quiet subject on the bigger radar at the moment, I think free speech is probably the number one issue in our country.
Mm-hmm.
It's strange because we have some really, really big issues in our country right now. It's not to diminish them in any way. But my argument would be, very simply speaking as an artist, that as long as free speech is protected in this country, all the other ills in our society will be taken care of more efficiently and more quickly, with more people participating in the process.
Yeah.
And when you try to silence people, however repugnant you find their opinions or their views, you're only delaying the amount of time it's going to take to get them on board if you are on the right side of the street with a particular issue. Shutting people down and silencing them and alienating them doesn't actually make them agree with you. In fact, it makes them want to resist you just on the face of the argument that you are not taking their opinion into account. In American society, if you can step back from the hyperbolic atmosphere that we have in our culture now, which, it is what it is, American society is actually incredibly tolerant. we tolerate, and I mean this in a very wide sense of the word, we tolerate an incredible, diverse set of opinions, cultures, styles. We are, arguably the most progressive country in the history of mankind. And we've done it in a very short time. In terms of historical arcs, we've moved very quickly and we've been very influential in the world. And so I trust that as long as we keep free speech at the center of our power as a country, we'll be fine, even though we're going to go through tough times. And maybe some of those tough times are warranted because we want to get to a better place, and it's going to be, it's like the old saying, take a step back before you take a step forward. It feels right now we're taking some steps back, but maybe hopefully we will take a step forward. But I'm utterly convinced that free speech is the most critical right in American society. And the minute you start diminishing that, and you see it happening daily, it is no longer a conspiracy theory. When you see the curtailment of free speech, particularly by corporate interests, who don't really care about the American Republic as much as they care about their bottom line and making sure they don't get attacked by some interest group. When you see that, and it's a daily story, that should alarm everybody, but it hasn't reached that level of alarm yet.
Very well said. You've been very generous with your time, so I only have 2 more questions, and I really appreciate it. The obligatory is, there's rumors of a original lineup Smashing Pumpkins reunion. Is there anything that you could talk about with regards to that?
Yeah, I mean, generally, there's been a lot of poking around. I'm hopeful, and hopefully it will happen, but I can't say for sure it will, and I can't say it won't. The good news is that the issues that were in the way, which really were more personal than professional, a lot of those have been sort of sorted out the last few years very quietly between particularly me and some of the ex-band members. So I'm very happy with that. I mean, I have peace in my life in a way that I hadn't had for a lot of years, and that even James is on this record, and unfortunately I haven't heard the song, but there's a song in this record that James plays on,
Okay.
To have James and Darcy particularly back in my life is a great thing. So whether or not we play, if we play, how we play, where we play, what we play, that is all totally secondary to me beyond the fact that we have this reestablishment of the relationships, because that's really what drove the music in the first place.
Sure. Wow, well, that's great news, and I'd love to. I hope it keeps progressing in a way that we get to hear. We get to hear some music out of you guys. Last question. This is a pop culture podcast, after all, so I have to definitely. We focus on superhero movies and comic books and things like that. Are you into any of the comic book movies or the Comic-Con scene? Did you read comics as a kid? What kind of pop culture do you consume?
I was a big, huge Marvel fan as a kid. Loved Iron Man and a lot of other stuff, and through the years have even collected old vintage Marvel stuff. As far as the comic book movies, I can't do it anymore. They lost me about Iron Man 1. I think that was my last. I get it in the sense that I really think it's awesome. As somebody who grew up in the like I went to Star Wars the day it came out. The original 1977 version. So as somebody who grew up in an era that saw the dawn of what is now the modern version of that, and how it went through like a terrible time in the 90s, and it's made this incredible comeback, and to see what Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and all them built. Even the Batman stuff. It's really cool as a fan, but I think that the economic part of the movie business interest in terms of how it's influenced those movies to where they feel less original. I will say though, to not sound completely like a negative guy, I thought the Doctor Strange movie that came out, I guess it would have been out about a year ago, I thought that was really now this is somebody who's actually doing something different, and this feels right to me as a fan of that character. I thought that was really awesome. But overall, like the third fourth, fifth Spider-Man reboot, super CGI. I can't do it anymore, and maybe I'm showing my age, but they kind of lost me along the way on that.
Yeah.
Because I will say this real quickly, and I'm saying it as a fan because I know you have people, and I don't want to be that guy. I'm not being a hater. What if you go back and read the original Marvels, what was really attractive was that there was always a sense that in amongst the superpower stuff was about friendship and camaraderie and kind of a piss take on modern culture, kind of making the sarcasm was always kind of part of the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And I think when it gets too CGI, too over the top, too ridiculous, I think an old school fan like me feels a little bit like this isn't really why I'm into this stuff.
Yeah.
And I go back, and I'll go back to the first Star Wars movie. You go back and the special effects are a bit soggy and stuff, but the relationships in that movie are so strong. And the way those characters seem to bond together in a particular way, that's what makes the movie so special.
Yeah.
So as long as you always have that, I think the other stuff is the cool part. But if you miss the relationship part, like in the Fantastic Four, if you don't have that relationship, it's just another movie. And these days, anybody can make those movies. I mean, there's so many CGI movies, it's like you lose count.
Sure. Real quick, that's not you in Small Wonder, right? And how many times have you gotten asked that?
Oh, Jesus Christ! If I could reach to the phone and strangle you, I would. And I will say though, to carry the joke on, that joke went on for a while. God knows how it started. It was like a weird urban myth rumor, and then it turned into Manson. So somehow he started getting it. And I've been with Manson when people have come up to him and asked him if he was the kid in Small Wonder.
Oh my gosh!
So somehow the urban myth of me, it was me, turned into Manson. So I'm very happy to say it is him, and you can ask him about it next time you talk to him.
Billy, this has been an absolute delight. I really, like I said, been a huge fan for a long time, and just rekindled my fandom into your music the last 3-4 years or so. So it's been just really great timing, and I'm looking forward to the solo record and trying to score tickets to the show as well too.
Awesome, thank you, buddy.
All right, thanks a lot.
Bye.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Are you into comics, movies, and pop culture at large? What about music and TV? Then you're in for a treat. This is Michael Dolce, your host on TalkingAlternative.com. I've been professionally writing comic books, screenplays, and music articles for almost 15 years. Catch my show, Secrets of the Sire, at its new primetime slot, Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and get the inside scoop on the pop culture universe you love to talk about. For more info, go to secretsofthesire.com.
TalkingAlternative.com.
You ever seen like the old men at the Starbucks? Like they have their little like.
I don't go to Starbucks.
Oh, I do. I work at
I'm
Starbucks.
a man.
It's fantastic, and they just have these old men club, and they just sit around and talk about the good old days.
That's why I don't go into Starbucks. It's a creepy sausage fest on caffeine.
Secrets of the Sire.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. Before we get into our most popular
Good
segment,
interview, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you. I tried.
Full solidarity for you.
I think so. Thank you. I appreciate solidarity. Yeah. Secrets of the Sire is brought to you by all of our beloved patrons. We have dedicated fans: Einar Peterson, Matt Byer, Ashley Haikai.
Not her name.
Our program director, Stephanie Dolce. Our executive producers, Steve Hovecki, Brian Phillips, and Christina Gillen.
I know those people.
And as always, our Uber fan, Christina Dolce.
Fix.
And I do It was a cool interview. He was very cool to talk to. A lot of people have problems with him now because he is a big Alex Jones guy.
Because he cut his hair? Oh.
Yeah.
InfoWars guy?
Right.
Really?
But if you listen to his interviews on there, now don't get me wrong, he gets into the conspiracy angle, which is why Howard Stern actually...
Because he saw an alien.
Right.
So...
Right. He gets into the conspiracy theories a lot because of that.
You'd be into Alex Jones if you saw a reptilian.
maybe Alex Jones is a reptilian.
He probably is.
Yeah.
Have you seen Alex Jones?
He's a very scary individual.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, you're walking down the street, you're going home, right? You see a reptilian. You'd be listening to Alex Jones.
I think so, too.
Like a couple of...
No, but that's why a lot of people have kind of been like, oh, I'm off the Billy Corgan train because he's turned into that. But I if you listen to his interviews on there, he's not like trumpeting necessarily. Like, he was not a Bernie guy, though. I'll tell you right off. He's not a Bernie guy, period. Because he thinks that, and I don't disagree necessarily with this. He thinks that capitalism brings out innovation, and I think it does too. I think competition does bring about innovation.
Is Bernie actually pushing socialism? He's just a socialist. I don't know if he's pushing socialism in itself.
I think he might have been. I think that's what his whole run was.
Not really.
That's why all those,
Nah,
That was the disinformation?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't agree with Bernie's politics here, but we'll go on.
Well, that's a different story. I'm just
thing.
saying he's not pushing that.
Well, anyway, but that's what...
just to make you sure that you're accurate in your reporting.
I'm never accurate.
I'm just trying to help.
There's no accurate.
No, you're not. You're not usually accurate
Irregardless of what you're saying.
My head.
People got off the Billy...
like an egg.
People got off the Billy train for that, but Why
would you stop? I mean, that's the problem. Your favorite musician or whatever doesn't believe in, Madonna or whatever kind of
is she real
iconicism you want to apply to them, and so
She's
now it's like I'm not going to listen to him anymore because he doesn't think that Like a Virgin is the greatest song. That's the stupidest reason to not listen to something that you love. You didn't fall in love with these songs because this person was a conservative, or a liberal. You fell in love with the song because you heard the song. You're like, hey, that reminds me of blah blah blah.
Sure,
I associate that with good times, right? And so now all of a sudden you find out that he's a reptilian and you're not going to listen to his music anymore?
No, he's not the reptilian.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
That's the best way to do it. Draw us all up the scent.
Yes, get us with the music. All musicians are reptilians. That's how we figured out. We cracked the code.
Well,
now they're going to kill us all.
Way to go.
Sorry.
Thanks.
Sorry.
Our intern's young and
good time to be an intern.
Has a bright future of reptilians.
Not anymore.
Reptilian slavery and punishment ahead. All right, we do this every week. We go spinning the racks to bring you the most fantastical pop culture news out there.
Spin the rack, spin that rack.
We've got officially one news story tonight to talk about for Spin the Racks.
We're going to spin one rack.
And it's the freakiest thing ever. Hamburger Helper reveals what's inside the glove.
So
and it is
stupid.
Freaking people out. No,
how is it freaking people out, though? What did they think was in the hand? Okay, hold on. How does a hand with a face not freak people out?
Yeah.
But seeing what's under the hand and the face freak people out more?
Oh, because it's like his costume, So it's...
What do they think those things are waving around when he's moving? He doesn't have a body.
It's like if you had a horrible scar, but you wore a hat all the time. Then you'd be like, hey, he's got a horrible scar.
But I would look like a normal human being. If I was the shape of a glove, people would be like, it's just a costume. No. No, that's me.
Well, so people started to tweet out possible renditions of what was under there. So there was an actual skull with two tiny hands underneath there. There was all kinds of things there.
Let's backtrack a little bit,
sure,
because you're gonna have to start from the beginning anyway, right? How did this all come about? Who decided?
Somebody was tweeting, and it just really was just somebody was tweeting about what is under the glove.
Some idiot,
and he tweeted a picture of what he thought was under there.
Overly curious,
and it went viral. It went absolutely viral.
So Hamburger Helper is like, we're gonna capitalize on this.
This official
capitalism.
So at Helper.
Oh my god!
With a check mark, the official Hamburger Helper handle finally put an end to it and tweeted it out. It is a glove with a tiny human being on their knees, too.
On their knees?
With 4 arms. manipulating the fingers.
And that freaked people out.
That would freak me out.
So that's a big glove then.
Yes. Yes.
So when we're seeing it, it looks like the size of an oven mitten.
Yes.
So the entrees, that's even more scary.
Yes.
Because the entrees that he's hawking, those must be the size of cars.
Yeah.
In reality.
Mm-hmm.
So why aren't people more freaked out by that? That's a complete waste of food.
Yeah.
People are starving.
No.
That's not an issue.
It's just some crazy stuff. It's just some crazy stuff. Like, why would I? They answered a question I never needed an answer to. I never even asked that question.
Yeah,
right?
well, somebody did. There's always going to be someone. If you give the entire public access,
that's today's
the problem.
Internet.
Public access. There's going to be one stoner out there who's going to be like, you know what? I need to know what's under that glove, man. I need to know. And you know what? I got a pipeline right to Hamburger Helper. I'm going to ask me a question.
So we covered a lot of ground tonight. We had a lot of fun. Give us some feedback. Let us know what you think about the.
Our intern's going to quit.
Oh, all right. She's gone.
She's
she's out of here. Like, she already left. Like,
yeah, she's gone.
I have to break down the set. Like, this is the entire reason I get an intern. No, we're gonna be doing some cool things coming up next week. We're going to preview Stranger Things 2 because it's coming out on Friday. So we're going to talk about
it's next Friday.
But see how
27th.
See how I was previewing next week.
Well, you got to say next Friday.
Well, I said next week.
But you said it's coming out Friday.
Next week we're going to be previewing Stranger Things 2.
Right.
Because it's coming out that Friday.
You didn't say that Friday.
It's possible that I didn't.
You didn't.
But I probably did.
No, you didn't. We'll listen to it.
So we're going to preview Stranger Things 2. We're also going to have Lou Ferrigno joining us to talk a little bit about Thor Ragnarok, which is coming up in 2 weeks. And then in 2 weeks, we've actually got Paul Reiser from Stranger Things 2 coming on to talk about his new role in the show.
And they'll be buzzing. That'll be a great time because they'll be buzzing about how it's the greatest show on Earth.
Well, it is. It is. So.
Yeah, the first season was.
Annie, you coming back next week?
No. Yeah, didn't think so. Did not
Looking
think
for
so.
new interns. Join us, Secrets of the Sire. Thank you, guys.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Who do you want to connect with?
Are you an entrepreneur or inchpreneur looking to build your following?
Welcome to our show.
Follow Me Friday with Joan
and Priya.
Tune in every Friday at noon Eastern
on talkradio.nyc.
We're your digital connectors. Woo woo! What's that?
Hey, all you crazy listeners. Looking to boost your business? Why not advertise on Talking Alternative with very reasonable rates? Interested? Simply email at info@talkingalternative.com.
Are you into comics, movies, and pop culture at large? What about music and TV? Then you're in for a treat. This is Michael Dolce, your host on talkingalternative.com. I've been professionally writing comic books, screenplays, and music articles for almost 15 years. Catch my show, Secrets of the Sire, at its new primetime slot, Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and get the inside scoop on the pop culture universe you love to talk about. For more info, go to secretsofthesire.com.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network at www.talkingalternative.com. Now, broadcasting 24 hours a day. Talking Alternative.
Hi, this is Rob Kay.
And I'm Callie Alpert.
And we're hosts of The Rob and Callie Show. Are you looking for a show that talks about real stuff like life, love, the pursuit of being yourself?
Then you have come to the right place because we cover topics ranging from chivalry to gratitude to your relationship with money and everything in between.
So listen to us on The Rob and Callie Show Tuesdays, 8 to 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.